the Gilbert Brutus Stadium in Perpignan. Hearing Advance Australia Fair. The crowd today, I would say, around the 3,000 mark again, not many more. The two stands are fairly full, but it doesn't hold a huge number of people. Acknowledgement from the crowd for Advance Australia Fair. And there's the lineup for Australia. Bob Linder back in the second row. Now the French national anthem. Those French players hearing the Marseillaise may find the inspiration today to salvage some pride after the first test. And that's what the crowd wanted to hear, the French national anthem. And the players now just about ready for this test match to get underway. The first test actually started 4 minutes before the appointed time. Today it looks as if we'll be pretty close to right on time for the kick-off of this match. But again, just running through that French team, David Fraise, the 5'8" in the first test, will be playing fullback. And then Bouzer and Pons on the wings with Delaunay and Brett in the centre. The 5'8" will be the lock forward, Jacques Molinaire, the lock forward from the first test, but we may see Jacques Molinaire, a fairly strong defender, trying to get up quickly on Cliff Lyons and keep him quiet. The halfback, the very skillful Patrick Ontoa, who played so well in the first test. The front row contains a couple of changes with Marc Tesser, who was in the first test bench list, but then came on and played quite strongly. And alongside him in the front row will be Thierry Butenol. And we saw Butenol playing for France B. Alan, you might remember he's a burly player, quite a big chest, and he showed a few ball skills as well as a bit of strength.
Yeah, well, that's right. But he's going to have to play well today to get on top of these Australian forward pack. They're a big and mobile pack, and the French side are going to find it very tough against our side.
Do you feel that the Australians are well and truly motivated for this game? It seems to me that everyone's winding down towards heading back for a couple of days in Singapore and then home.
Well, that's right. Everyone, we've been here for about 11 weeks now, so, you know, one more day in France and we're back to Singapore on our way home. So I think the boys will just want to go out on a good win here today and have a good time in Singapore, and everyone happy to get home.
Mal Meninga coming up for a word with the referee, John Holsworth from England, and we're about to have the toss, and the halfback Patrick Ontoa, the French captain, comes up as well. Just looking at that crowd, you can see that the people are fairly well packed in for warmth, if for nothing else, but as I said a little while ago, only about 3,000 people. In fact, there is us, Alan Langer and Warren Boland, amongst the French crowd at Perpignan. So out in the centre, the toss made, and it looks as if the French have won it. Ontoa making a decision, and looks as if he's elected to run into the wind in the first half. France have decided to run into the wind, and I think that was the tactics from them in the first test as well.
Well, that's right, and they'll have the wind in the second half, and you know, hopefully they won't be down by too many points in the first half, so you know, it'll help them in the second half.
It's going to be very important for the French players to tackle strongly in this first 15 minutes. They've got to get a foothold in this test.
Well, that's right. They can't afford to let Australia get too many or a couple of tries early, and if they do that, Australia could, get up to the 50-point mark.
And this is about a 20-point at least wind behind the Australians in the first half. Interesting to see if they play it down the French end as Mal Meninga gets us underway. Bouncing in the in-goal area and picked up there by Daniel Verdet. The lock forward, played second row in the first test. I thought played quite strongly, both second rowers for France in the first test. Cliff Lyons moving up quickly in defence as France try and ruck it out of their own territory. Playing the ball, Francis Lopez. Now taking it up strongly is the front rower, Marc Tisser, gets to the 22. The crowd calling for the Australians to be penalised for being up inside the 5, but they appear to be back with the referee. Butenol playing the ball. Valero spins it out to Ontar, who's knocked over by Lazarus as he gets his kick away. Coming through quickly is Bouzer on Belcher. Belcher just ducking underneath him. Referee says play on. Bouzer obviously was onside, according to the referee, behind the kicker, though he got through very quickly. Now here's Bob Lindner back into the fray after missing the first test with a thigh muscle strain. And Bob very keen to get back into the action. He's been the best player on the tour for Australia. And here's another one, Glenn Lazarus, but he's had the ball stripped and quickly picked up by Divet. Gets it away to Molyneux. He keeps it on the toes of Launay. Back to Molyneux. Molyneux on the inside there, but buried by Sirinen and also Brad Mackay. Only 35 metres out. Ontar quickly gets it on to Tisser. The burly Tisser. Bit of size about this front row today for France. And they take it to the Australian 22. Valero in a dummy half. Ontar. Verde heads across field. Lindner around the legs and Meninga over the top. Still 22 metres out. Ontar gets it away to Butenol. He's taken ball and all by Sirinen, flung to the ground. Right in centre field, 23 metres out. Valero switches the play to Molyneux, cutting back across the ruck. He runs into Lindner and he drives him into the ground. Great tackle by Lindner and Sirinen. You wouldn't want to run into those two fellas very often. They work at the blind. Ontar straightens it up. Hopping the kick through, flying through. Bouzer has the ball. Belcher manages to make a great tackle. It's the 5th tackle now. France on the attack. Great work by Bouzer and Ontar. Up it goes from Ontar. The ball swinging in the breeze. Underneath is Shearer. Anyone's ball over the top towards Pons. Pons going back to regather. He can't get hold of it. Lyons comes through. Now Shearer has it. And the referee says play on with Shearer. Shearer down the touchline. Shearer sprinting down the line. But across comes the fullback, David Brace, to make the tackle. Australia escaping from their own goal area. Shearer all tangled up with the ball. Long pass from Stewart out to Lyons. He picks up Meninga. Meninga turns on the pace. Back inside is Alexander. He can't get away from the tackle. Lyons keeps it going. Roach dummies to no one. Flings it out to Lazarus. But in comes Divet. Good work from Lazarus to slip it away. Elias, Stewart, Mackay. Australia keeping the ball alive, and that's the way they want to play the game. France have got to contain the arms, stop the ball movement. Here's Ricky Stewart. 35 metres out now from the French line, but good early attack from France. Sirinen. Only 28 metres out now. Elias, Stewart, Lyons. Lyons has Shearer outside. Heavy tackle comes in from Butenol. In fact, it was Marc Tisser. And Holdsworth penalises Australia there. I think they penalises France for the high tackle coming in from Tisser. It looked to be a pretty strong one. I was a little surprised that the referee found fault with it.
Yeah, I thought it was only around the chest, but Dale Shearer is down there on the ground, so it might have been a bit higher than we thought. But, you know, French have started off very keenly.
Let's have a look at it here as the ball comes out, and then this was a little earlier with Mackay going back into the centre of the field. It looked to be a very strong tackle from Tisser. Certainly shook Dale Shearer up, but I didn't think it was too high. So a chance for Australia now. They're just 20 metres out to take this tap. Elias calling for the ball. Stewart, Eddinghausen in from the wing. Eddinghausen, try scorer on tour for the Australians. Down on the French 22. Lyons, Mackay inside. He's lost his footing as he may have seen Marc Tisser coming his way. Roach. Out the back, Belcher can't get hold of it. Lindner was offside. Yep. What's the referee's ruling? Yes, penalty to France. Lindner offside, the ball being touched just before it rolled forward. John Holdsworth signals very clear. Good early attack from France, particularly the use of the little kick by Ontar.
Well, that's right, and a very good tackle there by Gary Belcher stopped France from scoring. So there's, even in defence, the French are very keen.
The winger, Alain Bouzer, I'm not sure whether he's been onside both times, but he's got a lot of pace.
Well, that's right. And, you know, as I said, Gary Belcher just stopped them from getting a try in the first few minutes.
That would have given them some heart. Now it's France midway between the quarter and halfway. Man down is Daniel Verde. Underneath him was Cliff Lyons. Valero trying to burrow his way towards the halfway line. Success spins it to the blind side. Montar is stepping both ways. Strong tackle comes in on top of, well, I think that's actually Thierry, that's Tesser wearing number 8. The program's wrong for the front rowers. The kick stabbing through on the blind side, and Australia have it through Glenn Lazarus. I think the man who put the big tackle in on Dale Shearer was in fact Butenol rather than Tesser. Lyons, Belcher, the goose step and away. Shearer down on the French quarter line. Alexander, a dummy half. Roach charges straight into them. Meet him there, Butenol. Stewart, inside is Sirinen. Sirinen brushes off 2 tackles. Great run from Sirinen. Alexander has it. And still going, Greg Alexander, trying to escape from the tackle, only 9 metres out. Elias, Stewart, long ball for Lyons. Good hands from Cliff Lyons to flick it up. Al Meninga brushes away from 2. Lyons backing up, can't hang on to it. And Gerald Thomas picks it off the ground. Thomas the winner, over the loose ball. Well offside. Valero takes them on. Referee Holdsworth now checks that Australia are back. None of the Australians who are offside came into the play. Verde trying to move the ball wide. Just a couple of metres short of halfway. Ontar runs around Valero. Out it goes to Tesser. He puts it on the ground. Ontar there again to back up. You must be impressed with Patrick Ontar, the halfback. He's a very busy player.
That's right. I played him in Parks in the first test in Australia this year, and he went very well in that game. And also I played him for Hull when we played Hull, and he's, you know, played 2 good games there. So, you know, and he was the best player for France in the first test. So France will be looking for him to have a big game today.
Scrum win for Australia. Brad Mackay stumbling forward a couple of metres. Lazarus. Good early resistance from France. A long ball from Elias to Belcher. Belcher finding an opening on the inside. Couldn't step through the cover defence that came across. Valero and Butenol. Bob Lindner on the burst. Great run from Lindner over the advantage line and still going. Plenty of strength from Lindner. He's only 12 metres out in front of the posts. Elias to Stewart. Plenty of overlaps on the outside, and the pass has gone behind Alexander. Trying to get the ball out to Belcher and Alexander quickly, but a loose pass, and the scrum will back down. And the chant goes up from the French crowd.
The crowd is certainly getting behind the French side.
Well, France can put a couple of early points on, or at least hold Australia. I think this crowd will give them a bit of encouragement. Bouzer in from the wing, taken well by Mackay. Dive heads towards the edge of the ruck. Once more the crowd up in arms, saying that Australia are inside the 5. And it is only a 5 metres from referee Holdsworth. Molyneux cut down by Lazarus. Shearer there as well. Ontar kicking back to the blind side. Eddinghausen going back to support Belcher. Belcher has Brett in front of him, and Brett makes the tackle on the halfway line. Serge Brett was one of the centres who was the one centre who survived from last week's test. Dennis Bien's dropped to the bench. No points on the board. Roach has Meninga in support, but can't get away from the solid tackle of Francis Lopez. Long ball from Stewart to Lyons, and he decides to kick using the breeze really for the first time, but you can see how strong that breeze is. Really, Cliff Lyons just tapped that ball with his foot, and it continued over the dead ball line.
Yes, it was like that in New Zealand when we played the test there, but, you know, they just got to afford to kick him slightly because the ball's just going to run and run.
8 minutes of play, no points on the board. The strength of that breeze, Australia will have no troubles getting out of their own half, but they're going to have to be very delicate with the chip kicks in the French half.
Well, you saw with Patrick Ontag's kick, you know, the strong win there, he's not kicking them very long at all.
think I might revise it from a 20-point win to something like a 30-point win.
That's right.
Duvet up the centre. Gets a pass away to Verde. Verde looks inside. Fine support there. But the Australian cover defence across. Swarming all over the top of Delaunay, Guy Delaunay. And applause from the crowd. Good work there from the French once more. Finding a couple of holes on the edge of the ruck.
Yeah, it was Daniel Duvet there. He's playing very well, and certainly just a couple little mistakes are not helping France.
Australian scrum win with Belcher. Saw half an opening just on the outside of Molinaire, but couldn't get through it. Molinaire's defence at 5'8" will be tough. Here's a good kick cut through by Lyons. There's no fullback at home. It's Cliff Lyons and daylight with Boozer coming across. Inside is Mackay, and Mackay will step past Boozer for a great try. Put that down to quick, concise thinking by Cliff Lyons. He realised there was no fullback at home and didn't make any mistake with kicking too far that time. Brad Mackay, the try scorer.
Yes, it was a great solo effort there by Cliffy Lyons, and it was, there he goes. A great pick-up, a good bounce for him. And to the man that backs up all the time, Brad Mackay, to go in for another try.
Plenty of green and gold jerseys arriving there in support as well. Alexander was one of them. Good try by Mackay. But, great thinking there by Cliff Lyons in a dummy half. Just popped the little kick through, regathered it well. And was really just open spaces. Boozer, the winger, Alain Boozer, came across trying to get to Lyons, but he couldn't stop the support play. So Mal Meninga is going to take the goal kicks today, and this one is right in front. Some thought that Greg Alexander may take the kicks. And it bounces off the post. Well, I thought that Mal Meninga with that one simply couldn't miss, but it's Australia 4, France 0 after 11 minutes of play.
Well, Mel hasn't been happy with his kicking form over here, so, you know, he probably just wants a few kicks today to try and change that around.
Well, I thought that maybe that one being right in front, he thought, well, if he'd thought about giving it to Greg Alexander, he thought, no, I'll take it and get my confidence up, but that would put your confidence at rock bottom, that miss.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who takes the next one.
Admittedly, most of Greg Alexander's kicks in the last few weeks have been right in front. France restart. The ball goes straight to Benny Elias, who is still carrying that rib cartilage injury, managing to struggle through the test and still play very well. Meninga trying to thrust Ontar off, but Valero underneath is holding on to him. Stewart, Lazarus. One or two of the Australians have been suffering from the flu and a few coughs and colds around, but they seem to be okay today as Roach takes it up the middle. Elias to Lazarus. Molinaire holds on, ball and all. Duvet coming in to add assistance. Holsworth signalling the fifth tackle. Up it goes from Stewart.
The linesman's got his flag up here, so something was done in the tackle.
Ontar loses it backwards, but regathers, and he's off. Patrick Ontar throws the dummy, but Sirinen hauls him in. Now Paul Sirinen's going to be called out. He looks as if he's signalling that he was bitten. Sirinen lifting his hand, obviously showing that his finger has been interfered with in some way. Let's have a look at this closely. Ontar underneath Sirinen. Sirinen's hand, his left hand was somewhere near Ontar's face, but his right hand was right on top of it with a clenched fist. Let's have another look.
Yeah, you can't see whether he bit him or not, but he certainly got a good ride on him there.
Yeah, I'd say that Patrick Ontar would think that he is in Disneyland at the moment if he knows that much about it. That was a pretty solid punch that landed from Sirinen. That'll be a blow to France if Ontar is badly injured. He's still down receiving attention. And as you said, even before that incident, the touch judge had his flag in the air as if he was going to report some incident.
Yeah, he had his flag up, and he was standing on the field for 10 metres in for about about 30 seconds. Then he put his flag down and got back onto the sideline.
Ontar's a tough customer. He looks to have recovered okay. He is the French captain. So France will look for touch through David Fraze. And he only manages to pick up 5 metres into this win. 4 points to 0 in favour of Australia after 14 minutes. A long pass from Ontar to Fraze, but Delaunay decides to step back into the defence. And over the top of him is Benny Elias. And Steve Roach is there as well. In comes referee Holsworth. And he's going to try and break them apart by saying that the Australians didn't clear the tackle player. Penalty to France. See the action there. Roach over the top, but Elias was the one really getting in a tangle with Delaunay. Roach keeping Delaunay away. Now here's a break from Verde. Up the field goes Delaunay. He has inside Bouzer. Great run there from Francis Lopez, in fact it was, the second rower. On task, spins it wide. Out to Molyneux. Cuts out Delaunay to Brett. Pons trying to get away from Cliff Lyons, throws it anywhere. Valero picks it up. One of the Australians held back a French player who was trying to get back to that ball. Molyneux makes a couple of metres. Tisser runs straight into the defence. Meeting him was Glenn Lazarus. 24 metres out on the fifth tackle. They switch it back to the blind. On tar. Links up with Dive. Away from Meninga. Dive still going. It's the last tackle and the ball's on the ground. And so that will be a turnover. Australia's ball.
Well, that was another good attacking 6 tackles by the French. And certainly from there, half of the field, they've got up into the Australian quarter.
Showed a little bit of variation around the ruck with Ontar, switching it back to the blind. Now here's Limner. Bursting away from the tackles. It's still going as Limner. Finally took 4 players in the end to have a go before he was stopped. Roach. To Stewart. Stewart trying to find Belcher, but Dive gets hold of him. Australia would do well to use this breeze. Lyons looms up. Inside is Belcher. And he's driven back, gets the pass away. Roach, quick hands to Lindner. Shearer. Shearer pushes away from Delaunay. Alexander. Over the halfway, almost to the halfway before his winger, Bouzer, got hold of him. Stewart. Lyons kicks through. Coming through is Meninga. Pond slow to turn around. Meninga steaming through. Fraze going back. The ball might beat them all. Fraze toes it over the line in the end. And Mal Meninga was steaming through on David Fraze. He just got to it in time. Once more, another good kick.
Very good kick there, Cliffy. He weighted it very well, and you know, the Frenchman had to kick it over the dead ball to disallow Mal Meninga steam charging onto the ball.
Cyril Pons, the winger, very slow to turn around, and Meninga went past him with ease. Good football by Fraze, who is an experienced fullback. He played 5/8 in the first test, but it's not a position that he's comfortable with, so put back at fullback today, and he ended up covering that safely. Drop kicks off from a metre in front of the goal line, back to Ricky Stewart. Stewart goes across field, but met in a heavy tackle. That was Verde who had hold of him, and he makes another tackle. Daniel, in fact, that's Francis Lopez, I'm sorry. Sirinen. Australia starting to get some momentum moving now. Belcher. Lindner out wide. Meninga. Taken this time by Cyril Pons, who rides him into the ground. And Lindner just hobbling back on side. Lazarus. Bob Lindner looking across towards the bench on the far side. I think he may have hurt that leg again. Roach. Stewart with a little kick. Frez has it covered, but nowhere to go as he runs into the defence of Brad Mackay. Bob Lindner trying to stay up with the play, but I don't think he'll be on the field too much longer, and could be David Gillespie to warm up.
Yeah, he doesn't look too good there. He's hobbling around.
So France trying to work it out of their own territory. Butenol to play it. Ontar at dummy half, working on the blind side. Steve Roach there in the way of Lopez. Valero dashes away from dummy half, gets it to the 22. Fifth tackle. Ontar. Ontar always thinking, but he's kicked out on the full this time. Just spearing the kick through low, off the edge of his boot. So it's a turnover to Australia in a handy attacking position. And the Australian backs very deep, stretched right across the field. Lyons, Shearer, Meninga on the angle, back to Lyons, Belcher chiming in, but well read by the defence. Delaunay there, and Brett read it well. Lyons Belcher. Solid tackle right over the top. It was Daniel Verde. The French are hitting well in the tackle so far, making them count. Here's Siren pushing away from Molyneux. Meninga is finding open spaces. Alexander. Lindner still going. Roach. He's lost the ball forward. Lyons picks it up, but it's play on. Play on, and the crowd don't like it. Mackay sends it inside to Belcher. Lazarus. That ball may have been knocked out of the Australian's arms. Steve Roach may have had it knocked out of his arms forward, according to the referee. Here's Elias. Elias going straight through. Pons can't get hold of him. Out it goes to Belcher. Inside to Shearer. He pulls it in magnificently. Can he get it down? Yes. Great try there by Shearer. Superb hands to pull that pass in. Gary Belcher also did well. Fine hands from Australia. Benny Elias it was making the early break. Shearer finally completing the try, just getting over in the corner. And the French are arguing. Guy Delaunay having a few words to say about the try to referee Holsworth. No doubt about it. Let's put the tries on the board and Australia lead 8-0. Here's the final moments once more with Belcher under pressure, flicking it inside as Dive came across to make the tackle. And then Shearer going for the corner with Pons there and Tisser. Looked like a fair try to me.
Yeah, I thought it was a fair try, and you know, it was three great ball movements there. Benny Elias, Belcher back into Shearer, and showed the skills of the three players.
Australia leading 8-0 after 20 minutes of play, and the crowd still are irate about that try. And I think what they're complaining about is the original knock-on back on the halfway when Steve Roach lost the ball forward.
Yeah, I wasn't sure, and I think it was a bit about the referee calling out a couple of the French players.
Bob Lindner is leaving the field while Mal Meninga will attempt this conversion from just 1 metre in from touch. And he's going to have to allow quite a bit for this wind. So this is a difficult one for Meninga. A few cans being thrown onto the field. Meninga pushes it well to the left and a long way off target. Allowed far too much. In fact, I don't really think that went where Mal Meninga intended, and I think we'll see Greg Alexander on after that boot.
Well, the crowd, you know, they're sounding very irate here.
And the referee is still talking to the French captain on tar. Well, it did appear that Steve Roach lost the ball forward. The only thought was possibly a French hand had knocked it, but it did appear to be a knock-on. But nevertheless, it was good football from that point on by Australia. So the restart from Molyneux down to Sirinen, and the referee says that was okay. The crowd won't like that either, but it did come off the legs of Sirinen, it appeared. Back on the Australian 22. Someone said to me last week that when France in past years lose a test match by a long way, they usually turn on the biff. Well, it hasn't happened yet, but if this crowd keep revving the players up, we could see a bit of fire before the day's out. On Tarkov's a boot as Roach lashed out in playing the ball. Here's Eddinghausen running off Elias. Eddinghausen will go all the way. Fraser's chasing. Fraser trying to haul him in, and a magnificent tackle, and he prevents the try. Superb tackle from David Fraser. For all money, Eddinghausen was going to score there.
Well, I thought he was around him, but the fullback never gave in, and that what shows never give in, and he pulled off a try-saving tackle.
That was a superb tackle here. Look at it again from David Fraser. Eddinghausen, no one has caught him all tour. He rolls him over on his back, got underneath the ball, and prevented a certain try. Now France getting 6 more tackles. Another look at that magnificent save by David Fraser. The French fullback getting to Andrew Eddinghausen right on the line. And as the players came back to the 22, it was Daniel Dive looking towards the touch line and appealing to the touch judge that he had been interfered with, attacked in the face. It seemed to be the signal. There's a lot of feeling out there at the moment.
There is, and I think it was for kicking in the tackle. I think there was the line for the hand.
Roach and Fisser have a few words. On tar kicks. Good kick into the ring, bouncing away from Belcher. Who's there coming through? Misses the tackle. Now it's Alexander. Clear space down the wing. No one in front of him. Fisser coming across. He won't get there. Can Fraser make another tackle? Fraser's missed Alexander this time. Reeves couldn't make another great tackle, and Alexander comes around behind the post to make it Australia 12, France 0, and Alexander. Whoa! I didn't know he had that in him.
Yeah, he said he was going to do that in one of the final games, and there it is.
Well, that was great reminiscent of some of the performances of the Great Britain winger. What's his name again? Who does the disco dance when he scores tries.
He scored in Sydney.
Just can't think of it, but that was spectacular by Alexander. And he's been rewarded with the attempted conversion. Standing up David Fraze, who was left grabbing at him as Alexander changed pace. And that was a great piece of work to beat the fullback. Alexander comes around. Oh, and they've stopped the replay. The French director. Why didn't he show it to us?
He's taken the...
Stewart to Sirinen up the centre. Sirinen's still going. Sirinen has support in Mackay. Mackay racing away. Francis tackle. Can't prevent the try. Great backing up by Mackay once more. Strong burst from Sirinen. Hasler keeps it on the toe. Spins around the upright. And that is full time. Referee Holsworth says to the players, you can leave this freezing, chilly field, and Australia has defeated France.